And good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to you, the good old people of the tube. Hope you're all today, hope you are feeling grand and always around your world. Hi there. Today's video is all about this guitar you see here. This is the Mark II John Frusciante Strat. Mark II because basically I've already done a Mark I, if you will. I had a 2008 Fender Road one, which I reliced up like John's, which currently resides in Ireland. So yes, this guitar. This is just a bog standard Squire. It was just a Squire Affinity which I bought locally. Basically, the legend that is Mr. Nick Oswald sent me some of his hand-wound pickups that were based on a 62 Strat pickup. But I don't have a guitar to put them in. I didn't have a guitar to put them in, so I was after something kind of like, you know, just a nice kind of like cheap modding platform guitar, if you will, so that I could get, you know, that I could put them in and try them out. Because I haven't actually got them in this guitar yet, but I will do soon in the next week or so, hopefully, fingers crossed. But I wanted to show you it like this stockish before I did that, and I'm going to do a video on changing the pickups out. But anyway, so I wanted a guitar to put those pickups in, and I was thinking, like, you know, as soon as they're based on a 62 Strat pickup, I would like to be able to kind of like do a John Frusciante Relic Strat again. So I found this guitar. I say it's just a bog standard Squire. It was just a bog standard Squire Affinity, well, it kind of still is at this point in time. Apart from some of the things I've done to it, which I'll tell you in a sec. And it cost me £80, everybody, £80. So it was really, really cheap, and it didn't break the bank, and I was very, very happy with the guitar itself, apart from a couple of things which I'll talk about. So yeah, that's all it is. It's a Squire Affinity. I have changed some bits on it, and I have done quite a lot of work to it, obviously in the Relic job, and I've done a lot to the neck, which I'll talk about now. And I'll talk about some of the techniques I've used. Actually, first thing I will talk about in a minute is why I didn't film any of this, and I'll talk about that in a sec. But yeah, it has, you know, I've put a lot of work into kind of like getting it looking the way it is right now. Okay, so, big question. Why did you not film any of this, Dave? You blooming fool, you. Well, simply because this guitar took me about a week to relic and to get right. From one thing or another, either it be the neck or the body or whatever. It took me a long time to get it right. So, and the thing is, when I am relicing a guitar like this, I want it as close as I can get. I mean, it's never going to be 100%. You know, Relic guitars do not look like real Relic guitars. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you can get close, but it's never the same. When you see a proper old Stratocaster that's like, you know, worn away and it's all properly done, there is no way of recreating that. There is just no way of creating that vibe and that wear 100%. There's just no way of doing it. So, Relic jobs are always going to be approximations. And there's people out there who have made it just like, it's like art. It really is. Like, some of these people who relic guitars look stunning. I can think of, like, there's Fraser guitars who relic guitars look amazing. Dale Wilson, I think his name is, in the Fender Custom Shop, does amazing relic guitars. And there's some others who do amazing relics. And it's just unreal what it is. But again, you know, it's always approximations. It doesn't look exactly right. But, you know, that's fine. It's good fun at the end of the day. And for people who don't like relicing, you know, that's fine. You don't have to like relicing. But the fact of the matter is, if it's your guitar and you want it relicing, no one can tell you it's wrong or it's right. You know what I mean? If you want to do it, then it's right. You know, you haven't. This is what I don't understand about people who are anti-relicing. Like, say, people say, "Oh, it's, you know, it's disgusting. You're destroying that guitar. You're destroying that guitar." It's like, yeah, but if you didn't pay for it and it's not your guitar, what does it matter? You know, people say, oh, well, it's fake, isn't it? You know, you fake. It's like, yeah, so? we're only here once. You know, we have the shortest, shortest thing in the world to kind of do. So if we want our guitars to look a certain way, and we bought it, and we put our money into it, and we did it, or somebody else did it for us, and we paid them to do it for us, then it shouldn't matter to you. You know, just go on with your life. You know, because what does it matter at the end of the day? You know, and people say, oh, you should just get the guitar and play it for 50 years, and it's like, well, hang on a minute. If I'm 20 years old and I bought a guitar and I want it to look like Rory Gallagher's and it's got a polyurethane finish, by the time I'm 90, it still won't look like that. Case in point being, my white Strat, my number one Strat, my white Fender Mexican Strat, that's got a polyurethane finish, and I've had that guitar since 2004, and I've played it. It's been refretted twice. I have played it every day of its life, every day since, pretty much. There is not many days I do not play that guitar at all, if ever. Actually, I don't know the last time I didn't play that guitar, at least once in a day. And that guitar has been on the pub circuit for years. It's been dropped, it's been bashed, it's been beaten, it's been smashed into. It's had other guitars fall into it. It's had people smashing into it when I lived in London. It's had all sorts done to it. And it still it's faded. It's gone off colour, but it still looks fairly pristine. You know, up close and personally, it doesn't. The scratch plate's hanging on by a thread, and you know it's very discoloured and scratched and dented and dented. But you could be mistaken to think it's not a particularly very old guitar, considering it's made in 2002. It doesn't look it. Whereas my Oswald John Strat, the two-tone sunburst with a maple neck guitar that Master Nick made me, I've had that guitar for about a year and a bit now. It'll be 2 years in February next year, I think. And that guitar looks older than my white Strat, and it's only about 2 years old, that guitar. And it looks older already because it's got a nitrocellulose finish, and the nitrocellulose is so thin, it's checking, it's chipping, it breaks off. All the plectrum scraping comes from me playing the guitar so much. The fretboard is starting to, the lacquer on the fretboard starting to wear through. The neck's going black on the back where my hand's playing it all the time. So people saying like, you know, you just need to buy a new guitar, which, you know, are predominantly polyurethane finish. I've gone on tangent boy mode here, everybody. I hope you don't mind. But people say, oh, you should just play the guitar for 50 years. A polyurethane guitar will not ever look like the one you want it to look like. If you want it to look like Steve Ray Vaughan's or Rory Gallagher's or whoever else, John Frusciante's, or whoever else's guitar, you know, which is a nitro finish, if you get a polyurethane guitar, it doesn't matter how much you play it, it'll never look like that, because polyurethane just chips. It doesn't wear. Nitrocellulose wears, polyurethane chips, and because it chips, it doesn't look like a nitro finish, and it never will. So, that's my argument to people who say I should just play the guitar for 50 years, it'll look battered and beaten. No, it won't. It won't. I've had that, 2004 I bought my white Strat, so what's that, 2004, 14, that's 10. So it's about 14 years I've had that guitar, and it doesn't look, and, if it was nitro, I always think this, if that guitar was nitrocellulose, I don't know how much paint would be left on it by now. I'm pretty sure it would look not too dissimilar to this, because when you get close up on that guitar, you can see all the plectrum wear, and you can see all the arm wear on it, and you can see all the dints and dents on it and stuff, so it does make me wonder what that guitar would look like if it was a polyurethane finish, and not polyurethane finish, sorry, nitro finish, and I played it 14 years straight like I have. It'd be very interesting to know. I mean, we're never going to know, but it's nice to think. Anyway, back on track, off that point of negativity around Relicing guitars. If you like Relicing guitars, Relic guitars, no one can tell you it's wrong. But if you don't like Relicing guitars, that's fine as well, but just don't tell people it's wrong. As long as you didn't buy it, and as long as somebody's not coming to your house, tying you to a chair while they get your guitar, put it on a table and start scraping it, it shouldn't affect you in any way, shape or form. If it's their guitar that they've bought, they've paid for, that's what they want it to do, that's what they want to happen to that guitar, then, let it happen. It's not for you to say it's right or it's wrong. It's not for anyone to say that. And, at the end of the day, what does it matter anyway? If somebody wants to do this to a guitar, it's hardly ruined. It still works and it still plays. And in all fairness, I prefer this better than it was when I got it. So, you know. Anyway, off the negative side of Relicing, let's get back to this guitar, which is what this video is about. Be quiet, phone. Because I've tangent off there massively for about 5-10 minutes, so I do apologise about that. Back to this guitar, everybody. Let me talk about what I've done to this guitar that's different. Okay, so, first things first, let's start at the headstock. I changed the machine heads out from the original Squire to these Clouson Deluxe style machine heads. Those ones, because, again, they're kind of like, I've had these around for ages, and I wanted them to go on a guitar. So, I finally got them on a guitar. I wanted these on just because John's 62 would have had these style of machine heads on his guitar. So, I wanted them on there. I have sanded the sanded the Squire logo off the headstock because I wanted to write John's name on it. So, I have, so. And I've done it with the Fender F because, you know, why not? So I wasn't going to put a Fender logo on this at all. I didn't see the point in that. I just wanted John's name on it because that's what this guitar is. It's a tribute to my hero. So I wanted his name on the headstock instead of Squire or Fender or whatever else. So I wanted his name on it. I actually got rid of the original serial number as well, and I put John's date of birth as the serial number, which is something I like to do when I do a tribute guitar. I did it on the Rory Gallagher one, I've done it on my Jimi Hendrix one, so and I did it on my Kurt Cobain ones and stuff like that. So yes, so that's what I've done with headstock. I got rid of the second string tree. I don't like two string trees anyway. I only ever use one, so I got rid of that one. So that's the headstock. Neck wise, when I got the guitar, the fretboards, the frets were terrible. The original owner of this guitar had really heavy strings on it. And he'd done a bit of a number on the frets, so the frets were all uneven because of these heavy strings, and certain places he had played more had lowered the frets in certain places, and being heavy strings, it just annihilated the fret. So I fret leveled it. This is the second guitar I've ever fret leveled, and it was a success, so I was very, very happy. I was like, yes. So finally getting into fret leveling and crowning and polishing, and I'm really, really happy with this because now it plays where it didn't before. There was dead spots all over the fretboard. So I fret leveled the guitar. I had to recut the nut. The nut was terrible. It was just really high. The action was stupidly high at this top end here. But now it's really, really good. I've had to put paper in the B string nut slot though because it's sitars, but I'm not bothered about that. You can always find a little bit of A4 paper or a bit of paper to shove in, nut slots. But I might replace the nut at some point way down the line. But at this point in time, it works. I'm happy. So I recut the nut to play better on up this end. Fret leveled it, cleaned all the gunk off the fretboard because it was laden with finger gunk, and it's never nice playing on somebody else's finger gunk. So I got rid of that. I replaced the pearl dots, the original pearl dots on this guitar. I wanted clay dots because that's what would have been on John's 62. And I want it as close as I can humanly get to that kind of thing. So what I do is I drill a tiny little hole. It's about, like the size of a pinhead. Well, maybe a little bit bigger than a pinhead hole down the middle of the original fret dot, the plastic kind of pearloid fret dot. Just drill a tiny little hole down the middle of it till you get to the rosewood. You got to be really careful not to drill, obviously, too far into the rosewood, just because you can go through the maple, and you don't want to do that. So I drill a tiny little hole, then I go up a drill bit size, and then another again, and I want to get to the point where I've got this tiny little rip. Well, not tiny, but about 1 millimeter left of the original fret dot, because at that point there's not enough surface area for the glue that it was glued into to hold it. And all you need to do is get a sharp knife, and it just pops out. It normally crumbles. The cheap plastic dots normally crumble away, so you can just get it out. And then once that's done, you've got to, just clean up the fret dot hole with, like a sharp knife, like a little craft knife is really, really good for it with a sharp point. Just get rid of any excess glue that's in there, make it really clean. And then what I do is I put just wood filler. It's just wood filler. That I just put in there. So I just basically just smear it in, just like really press it in with my finger and my thumb. And basically just kind of like make a mess, lack of a better word, make an absolute mess of the fretboard where the dot is. and then do all of them the same. Say drill them out, get the original dot out, clean it up, and then smack the wood filler in. And then once it's dried, it normally takes about 2 hours. I sand it back with really fine sandpaper until you basically get the dot flush with the fretboard and it gets rid of all the excess. And then I use lemon oil to clean up, like get all the excess clay out of the wood grain of the fretboard. So and it just leaves you with clay dots. And the really cool thing is, when you put a clay dot in, when you finally get it down to where it should be, when you start playing on them, they start to discolour really quickly, and they end up looking exactly like they should, like original clay dots. It's really cool. I don't know if you'll be able to see them, but let's try. So yeah, so that's it. So that's what I've done to the fretboard on top. So fret leveled, cleaned the fretboard, and put clay dots in it. It's just wood filler. I think the wood filler I use is called like natural. It's kind of like a mapley, whitish kind of colour. You don't want the kind of like, brown wood filler. You want that kind of like whitish kind of wood filler. And that's what I use on here, and it really looks the part. It really, really looks the part. Okay, so the second thing I did to the neck was I shaved the back down, because when I got this guitar, this neck was beyond a baseball bat. You know, you've heard of baseball bat necks. This one was thicker. It was massive. It was so uncomfortable and cumbersome. It was just silly. It was just absolutely silly. So I was like, right, that's gonna get changed. So what I did, and what I do to necks that I don't like the shape of, if I want the neck thinner, for instance, like, you can get some cheap guitars I've had over the years have had absolute horrifically big necks. So I have kind of like got my own little technique of how to kind of shave it down. Some guitars I've actually had my friend James do, but some guitars I've done myself, and I did this one. It took about 2 days to get it to the point where I was happy with it. But what I do is I basically position the guitar so it's like that, just kind of leaning on something, and I get a really sharp knife. I've got a really, 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 really sharp knife that I use, and I resharpen it before I do anything like this to make sure it's as sharp as it can be. So always watch your fingers. And basically just scrape. So I start normally at the fret side and just gradually work towards the middle, and then on the other side, and then work my way back. So say it's kind of like goes like that, and then that, and then that, and then that. And it's all the way up. I start down the bottom end, go to the top, start down the bottom end, go to the top, start down the bottom end, go to the top. You never want to go up and then down, because you'll get these weird like lines in the wood, and you don't want that. On some of the earlier guitars I've done, it's very, very rough and it's not very smooth. So start at the bottom, go to the top, and then start at the bottom and go to the top again. Don't do this. You just want to be going in one direction all the time. Okay, so, and one of the things I would recommend doing, if you are going to shave the neck down, is I like to keep the guitar strung up and in tune. Because, the reason for this being, is because once it reaches a certain kind of like thickness, you can pick the guitar up, dust it off, and you can actually play it and know how it feels immediately. Without having to kind of like, go reattach it to the guitar, string it up, tune it up, trying to get it in tune, and then kind of like, play it for a bit to see how you feel. You can literally just kind of go, no, I don't like that bit, or I don't like, there's a bit here that's not quite right, I need to work on that bit more. You can really pinpoint where you need to be when you're kind of doing that, and also it just speeds up the process. So that's what I did on this, is literally I just was kind of like going up and down the fretboard, and then I was just like, got it to a certain point. It was rough. I didn't sand it at that point. I just used the knife to scrape it back, so it's rough, but you can still play it, and you go, well, there's a lump here, there's a raised bit there, that bit's too low, that bit's too flat, or whatever, and you can just go back and you can work at that bit until it feels right to your hand. You can really customize the neck shape to you that way. So that's what I did to the neck, and now it's ridiculously comfortable. And for some reason, I don't know how I've done this, but it's a fluke, and it's a great fluke, and I'm very, very happy. The neck is exactly like not exactly like, but it's a lot like an original 62 Strat neck. It really feels the same. It's really weird. It's like really kind of like, you know, it's quite big down this bottom end around the 12th fret area, and it just thins out to the top end here, which is really, really thin. Well, not really, really thin, but it's thin. So yeah, so that's what I did. I shaved down the neck, and basically what you do is once you've scraped it down and you've got it kind of to the size you want it, to the thickness you want it, you want to get fairly coarse-ish sandpaper, not ridiculously coarse. We're not talking like I don't know grains of sandpaper very well yet. I'm not very good at that kind of thing. But you want fairly thickish sandpaper. And you just want to be absolutely pummeling the neck, basically, to make it kind of like smoothish. And then just work your way down to really, really fine sandpaper. Sorry, everybody. Until it's really smooth. And then once it's smooth, you know, try it again. See how it feels. And if it's not right, go back and redo those steps. Scrape it down with a really sharp knife, sand it with fairly coarse sandpaper, and work your way down to fine sandpaper again. Find out where it needs to come down and whatnot. And just keep repeating it until you pick it up and you go, that's it. Yeah, you will know. Once you get it right, you will know, I promise. Okay, so that's what I've done to the neck, and I'll say I've shaved it down, and it's a happy accident, but it actually feels like a real old 60s neck. And it's really, really cool neck now. I really, really like it. So I just wish you were all here to feel, because it does feel really good. It does feel really good. It's got some meat behind it down this bottom end here, but up here it's really easy to play. It's really, really nice. Okay, so moving on from the neck. That's what I've done to the neck. Moving on to the body now. Electrics are all stock at this point in time. I haven't changed the pickups as of yet, but I will. But all the electrics are stock. These are the original Squier Affinity pickups, selector switch, everything. I have changed the knob covers at this point in time, and the selector switch tip isn't the original because I've got them staining in coffee at this point in time. So they're getting stained off to basically look like this. So these are discolored already, so I'll just put them on for the time being. And the same thing, I'm doing the same with the pickup covers for Master Nick's pickups. That'll be going in here at some point. The covers will be stained off to be more kind of like, yellowed off. Okay, so all the electrics are stock, so there's nothing really to talk about there. The tremolo, which I'm sure isn't very, very well. I've had to put 4 springs into the tremolo to keep it down, and I've actually also had to screw the claw in. The original owner had really heavy strings on this, and I don't think it's done the tremolo any good at all, because it's only a small block. So it's only a cheapo tremolo block, and I don't think it could hack the strings. They were like 12s or something. And I don't think it could hack it. So I think it's kind of bent it slightly. I think it's bent the base plate from the actual kind of like, the block, so to say. So it's kind of like, instead of it kind of being like a right angle, it's kind of like bent that back. So everything kind of gone like this. It's gone a bit weird. So hopefully I won't have to change it, as long as I just stay away from the tremolo. Unfortunately, I can't use the tremolo on this guitar, which guts me because I love tremolos. But I don't want to have to change it. I like to keep it as original as possible. So we'll see what happens. That might change it, it might not. I hope it doesn't. So, all electric stock, tremolo stock, jack socket stock. The scratch plate is different. I put a mint green scratch plate on this to mimic John's. Being a 62, it would have had a mint green scratch plate, so that went on immediately. I've got loads of scratch plates just lying around from loads of guitars I've done over years of kind of like, messing around and modding guitars and stuff. I've got tons of scratch plates, and I've got this mint green one, so it went on here immediately. It's still got the Squier neck plate. Getting closer, Dave. Like I said, I'm not trying to pass this off as a Fender or anything like that. It is what it is, It's a Squier relic, like John Frusciante's, with snazzy pickups in it when they get put in. That's all it'll be. I don't agree with that whole thing of modding the guitar to and then saying it is what it isn't. I don't agree with that at all. If it's a Squier and people, if people want to put a Fender logo on a Squier, but then they're embarrassed to say it's a Squier, it's like, don't be embarrassed. If it's a good guitar. If it's a good guitar, shout it from the rooftops. The only reason I sanded the Squier logo off this one is because I wanted John's name on there, because it's a replica of his. It's my little tribute and homage to him. But you know, if it's a good guitar, it doesn't matter what make it is. A good guitar is a good guitar, regardless of what it says on the headstock. So yeah, tremolo original, electrics are original. Scratch plate is from Axes or Us, which are an awesome company, which I buy loads of stuff from. That's a mint green guard. Jack plate's original. Tremolo's all tremolo block and springs are all original, apart from matte spring. But that's not really important, is it? So yeah, so the body. Let's talk about the body now and some of the techniques I use to relic the body. And again, I do apologise for not filming this, but like I say, when I start relicing, I go into a different world and I don't talk and it'd be very boring. So yes. The burst on this guitar isn't really what I would call a vintage style. It's more of a it's more orangey than it should be. It should be more yellowy, but you know, beggars can't be choosers, and I'm not complaining. And I'm quite happy with it, to be honest with you. And I really quite like it. It's really nice. Okay, so how did I get these relicing points? Okay, so it's the exact same principle as the neck. What I use is a really sharp knife, and I scrape the finish. And because it's a polyurethane finish, and this polyurethane finish is ridiculously thick, the only way you can get it down is by scraping it. If you're going to go at it with sandpaper, it'll take you forever. So you want to get a really sharp knife and just scrape it. And again, same technique as the neck. You don't want to be going because you'll mark up the lacquer. So you just want to be going in one direction, just like that, or wait, I'm in my hair. Gross. Yeah, if you go two ways, then you get these little kind of like, you know, dints and dents that you can't sand out. So you don't want to be doing it. You just want to be going in one direction all the time. And I say scraping the guitar is 10 times easier than sanding it. If you're going to sand polyurethane, you're going to be there for absolutely ever. So don't do that. Scrape it. Use sandpaper to finish it. Okay, so that's what I do. And another point to mention, if your guitar's polyurethane like this guitar is, forget getting to the wood. Okay? Don't bother even trying. The wood is so far under lacquer. Even when you get to it, it won't be worth it, and you'll end up with it looking really silly. So don't even bother getting to a wood. My recommendation is what you see here as wood is actually clear coat. It's not the wood of the guitar. It looks like it from a distance, you can't tell, but when you get up close and personal, you can tell it's not the wood. I don't know if I'll be able to see. Let me see if I can... turn it that way. Hopefully you'll be able to kind of like see. You can hopefully see. From a distance, it looks great. But when you get really close up close and personal, you can tell it's not wood. You can tell it's like a plastic kind of cover, so to say. So what I recommend doing, if you've got a polyurethane guitar, especially like a Squire like this or anything like this, some Fenders will just have polyurethane lacquer and then the wood, so that makes it easier. But if you've got a cheapo guitar like this one, and it's got loads of clear coat and then the finish on top, just go for the clear coat. Just get the original, the top layer of finish off and just go to the clear coat, because trying to get to the wood will take you forever and then it won't look very good, and the wood underneath might be rubbish. It might not even look very good when you get to a wood. So I'd stick with just the clear coat. It looks, you know, from afar you can't tell. And like I say, all relicing is always going to be approximations. It's never going to be perfect. So just, you know, if you're going to think like, you know, this is going to be perfect, it's not. You just can't do that. It's not possible. Okay, so this is just clear coat. Okay, so what I do is I just basically get a knife and I scrape away a basic idea of what I want. Okay, so basically what I'll do here is I would start here and I would scrape down until I get to the clear coat. So basically until I get through the sunburst to the clear coat, and you'll know the clear coat when it appears because it's like white. It's like a real whitish kind of weird colour. Once you get to that, then you start moving down, and you want to be moving down with an idea. And what I normally do is I normally get like a Sharpie or a marker, and I draw out a basic shape of the wear that I want. So I drew out the basic shape of this plectrum wear, of the arm wear, of all the wear on the top, and the wear on the back, and all the bottom wear, and all that lot. And I draw it out with a marker, and all the wear around the jack socket, I draw it out with a marker. And then you've got something to go to, so you can see where your lines are, and you can scrape down to your lines. So that's what I did there. It's just knife scrapes, just bringing it back until you get basically you expose just the clear coat. Like I say, forget the wood. You're not, even if you get to the wood, it might not be worth it. Okay, so that's what I did. There, and all here, and whatnot. The smaller chips and dints and dents are really, really difficult to get, but it is possible. Again, watch your fingers though. You need a really, really sharp knife, and if you're not concentrating, it's very, very, very easy to slip and cut yourself. And if you're using a really sharp knife, that can lead to horror. So just be careful. Yeah, just be careful. I don't want somebody coming back saying like, I took your Relicing advice. Oh, did you? Yeah. Look at my hand! I don't want that. And then somebody coming to beat me up, basically, because they lost their fingers. So just be careful at all costs when you're using a really, really sharp knife on these guitars. And because the finish is so tough, really, really tough, be quiet, phone, you will, it can, the knife can go different directions. You know what I mean? You can be going one way, and the lacquer, because it's so tough, can dictate where it wants to go. So it can scratch off, and it can go into your thumb or your fingers. So be very careful. Take your time. Take it very, very slow. If you rush it, you're going to end up in hospital with a knife in your hand. And that's not good. Okay, so really, really slow. Okay, and then you gradually get all these chips and dints and dents. Okay, so that's how I do it. That's what I do. I use a really, really sharp knife, and I just scrape away a basic shape, if you will, of the wear. Like, for instance, the scratch plate shape, the above scratch plate shape on John's Strat is a very, very kind of distinctive shape. So I kind of basically get this kind of basically that to start with, if you will. This kind of shape. That's the kind of shape I was going for initially. And then what I do is I switch to a smaller craft knife. So it's a lot smaller. The blade is only about so big. It's about half an inch long. And then I use that knife to scrape the finish away and get the shape. To basically refine it, so to say. So all the main sides, that is really getting on my nerves. This is what happens when you don't put your phone on silent. One second, everybody. Someone's obviously really, really important. Wants to get hold of me. Anyway. You want to get the basic shape. Once you got the basic shape, like I say, go to a craft knife and just gradually scrape away the shape to what you want. And that's what I did here. So basically all these sides, all these little bits here and on the top and stuff like that, and all these little bits, that's just done with a craft knife. It's very, very, very simple to do. Just takes a lot of time. It really does. I mean, this one section, just the above the scratch plate section, that took me a whole night. I think it took me about 4 or 5 hours. Because I just take my time with it. I really take my time with it. I go really slow. I make sure I take breaks to rest your eyes, because if you start to get tired eyes, you can make mistakes. You can slip with a knife. Again, not good. So be very, very careful. Take it slow. Take your time. There is no rush. Do not rush it. Okay, so that's pretty much it, really. It's just a knife. And then once it's scraped down, what I do is I go over the entire body with wire wool. And it takes the shine down. So that real high gloss finish you get with like Squires and guitars these days with polyurethane finish, it just takes the shine down a little bit. Let me see if I can show you in light. So hopefully you can kind of see there. It's still got a shine, but it's not kind of glossy shiny. It's more in kind of keeping. In all fairness, most old guitars don't actually look like that, but it's a good approximation if you know what I mean. It's, like I say, it's never going to be 100%, but it's a good approximation. So that's what I do after that. And the good thing about the wire wool is what it does, it smooths over all the wear points. So all the arm wear down the bottom end where the arm wear rejoins, where the sunburst rejoins the arm wear, it really smooths that out and makes it look, makes it feel nicer. It's smoother. It's nicer to play. It gets rid of all the humps and bumps and all the nastiness, and it just makes it look more, in keeping. So once I've done that, then what I'll do is I wood stain off the clear coat with like a light wood stain, and because it's clear coat, it just absorbs it. So it goes from white to a kind of like a yellowy, more wood colour like this. The plectrum wear on this guitar is just wood dye. It was white originally. It's literally pickup cover white. It's ridiculously white. And then I stain it off with like a yellowing wood stain, and it gives it this almost woodish kind of colour. And then what I do for bits like the arm wear and the underside where the guitar would get dirty, is I get a pencil and I basically scratch pencil all over it. I get a pencil lead basically, just scratch it, and I smear it in my fingers. You get nice dirty fingers on this, and you just smear it into the clear coat, and it just holds, and it just ends up looking dirty. I didn't do it on this bit of wear because if you look at John's plectrum wear bit isn't dirty at all. His arm wear is. His chips around his jack socket aren't. There's a few. These are a little bit discoloured underneath, but not really. So I wanted the arm wear to do that. So that's what I did. I got a pencil, scribbled it in, and you just smudge it in basically with your fingers. Okay, so that was that. And then the last thing I did was I put these lines in here. Because if you watch the Poland gig of the Chili Peppers, where there's a camera like here on John, you can see all the wood grain. In this bit of wear, you can see all the wood grain. There's like real prominent lines, wood lines, the wood grain lines. You can see them. So I've put them in. And again, up close and personal, they look okay. From really far away, they look really, really cool. But yeah, they need to be there. So hopefully you can kind of see. So yeah. And that's it, really. It's quite, that's it. It just takes a long time. You've just got to be prepared for it to be long. You know what I mean? And it's going to take days. You won't have it done in a couple of hours, basically. Unless you're doing like a light relic. If you're doing like a heavy relic like this, it's going to take a long time. So, and different finishes will vary. Some finishes will be really, really tough, in which case there's not even any point. If it's literally millimeters and millimeters of finish, it's just not worth it. I'd forget it. But if it's like this one where the actual burst is quite thin and the clear coat's really, really thick, it's worth doing if you want to do it. Okay, so yeah, that's it really. And the same thing on the back. The back is just a wood stain. You can kind of see. So that colour is just the wood stain. The clear coat itself, when you scrape down to it, once you clean off that clear coat, it's actually white, like I say. So it's like a plastic, so it's not a very nice colour. So yeah, that's it. Is there anything else I need to talk about? No, all the chips and dints again are the same thing. It's just a knife. I actually used a craft knife for the small dints and dents for chips. And again, it's just a case of scraping away nice and slow. Take your time. Do not go fast. Do not rush it. You will cut your hands. You'll be in trouble. So go slow. And just to show, it is possible to relic a polyurethane guitar. Yes, it doesn't look as good as a nitro guitar relic, but I'm happy with it. So what will be at the end of the day, everybody. So yeah, is there anything else I forgot to talk about? Oh yeah, the dirt here. I mean, you can see this section here. On John's guitar, he's got this real horrible grubby patch of dead skin that's kind of like accumulated over the years of him playing that guitar. And I simulated that again. It's the exact same thing. It's just pencil lead. It's just graphite from a pencil that I scraped off a pencil basically onto a bit of paper, got all the graphite on my finger, and just like smudged it into the guitar. And because I'd wire walled it, it was quite the lacquer's quite open, so it just goes straight in and it just sticks and it just creates kind of a good approximation effect. So that's it. So yeah, I think that's it. And I am running out of time and I want to do something before I finish. I want to play something on this. So let's pick up the machine heads, the headstock for neck, for clay dots, the fret level, shaving down the neck. What I do to get the wear, like I say, it's just a knife. Just scrape it, but always go in one direction. Don't go backwards and forwards. It'll ruin the look. So, and then wire wool, just to smooth it all out and take the shine off. You want to do that over the entire body. You don't have to take the scratch plate off. I didn't. You can be quite strategic. So under the scratch plate, it's still really high gloss, which is fine by me because you're never going to see that anyway. So it's lazy, but if you're never going to see it, then What does it matter? So yeah, that was my lazy point. That was the point where I was like, I'm not taking the guitar apart. I want to play it. I'm not taking the guitar apart. That was the lazy part of me kicking in there. After 4 days, you do get to that point. So and then wire wall it until it's nice and smooth all over the place. You'll just feel where it's not, where it's and look in the light where it's still really glossy, because that's you want to work over that a bit again. But don't be heavy-handed with the wire wall. That's one thing to say. Just nice and easy, nice and light. Don't kind of like dig in. Just nice and easy. Just take your time with it. Just to get that shine off. And then that's it really. So and then pseudo wood grain lines, which I kind of got that one wrong, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I quite like it. I don't know. Yeah, you can kind of see. But like I say, you can really see them on that Chili Peppers Poland gig in 2007. You can really see those wood grain lines, and I really wanted to simulate that. And that's just basically that's just a really blunt knife digging into the clear coat. And I don't know if you can see actually, but if you can see how deep the lines are, that's the clear coat, and that's not even down to the wood. So the clear coat on this guitar is at least over a millimeter thick. The actual burst is really, really thin. I hope you can kind of see in the light. I hope you can kind of see that in the light. The actual burst on the top, the actual finish, is actually very, very thin. But the clear coat's hard as a rock and as thick as anything. Okay, so yeah, that's it. The next video you'll see of this will be of me changing the pickups out to Mr. Nick Oswald's 62 set. So hopefully that'll be in a week or so. So yeah. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this video, everybody. I hope it's made sense. I'm terrified it hasn't. So I hope it's made sense. I will have to do a video on this relicing thing at some point. I might actually finish the back. The back is not 100% finished yet, but I'm taking a break from it. After a week, you tend to get a bit fed up, and you have to go away, leave it for a bit, and then come back to it, which is totally fine. You don't have to rush anything if you don't want to. So when I finish the relicing on the back, I might actually film that and pull that off just to show you what I do instead of talking about what I do. Okay, so yeah. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's been kind of like informative. If it hasn't, I do apologise immensely. I hope you enjoyed it though, and I will see you again very soon for another video Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. Yes, it is. Good gravy, it's Friday today. End of the week. Okay, so yeah, I'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. Yes, goodbye now.